Hello, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Andrew Demeter, and today I'll highlight some key points that President Obama discussed during his press conference speech today concerning gun control legislation. While speaking about these points, I encourage you to open the description of this video below to take a look at the official White House documentation that has been released correlating with the executive orders that Obama has suggested. The first suggestion made by Obama mandates the eradication of background check loopholes with hopes of keeping guns out of dangerous hands. Whilst this approach sounds idyllic, a counterpart to this argument nullifies it altogether. Straw purchases are a means of obtaining weapons by which a consumer with an unscathed criminal record purchases a gun and then traffics it to the buyer. Another way to circumvent this obstruction would entail the quote-unquote common sense exceptions for family transfers. Basically, if one's avid hunting uncle passes away and someone is on his will to inherit the weapon, they've illegally obtained a banned assault rifle. Clearly, regardless, that is, whether the recipient is mentally stable or not. The second executive order demands the ban of military-style assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, as well as taking other common-sense steps to reduce gun violence. The first subsection is headed Protect Police by banning armor-piercing bullets. Two questions for you. One, didn't James Holmes, the Aurora Batman movie shooter, wear a bulletproof vest? And two, does every police officer consistently have the public's or individual's best interest in mind? I'm wagering a steadfast no. Next, the executive order brags, give law enforcement additional tools to prevent and prosecute gun crime. This section necessitates a $4 billion expenditure that delegates approximately 15,000 cops per community. Sounds like an eminent police state to me. Subsection C. Preserve the rights of doctors to protect their patients and communities from gun violence. According to Merriam-Webster, preserve is defined as the maintenance of something in its original or existing state. Previously, I thought that doctors exhibited an aura of confidentiality, but now that the state has intervened, that privilege is void and doctors must submit to the dogma. The last section of Executive Order Number 2 suggests to encourage gun owners to live up to their responsibility to store guns safely. I find it ironic that owners are supposed to withhold their responsibility for weapons, yet the government isn't held accountable for their infringement upon the Constitution. In all seriousness, though, I feel gun storage is a superlative issue to gun control, in that by threatening to ban assault weapons, sales have skyrocketed due to fear. Likewise, people who have otherwise no interest in weapons and consequently don't know how to control or store that weapon are buying them and possibly creating an even more dangerous situation than before. And lastly, Article Number 3, the third and final executive order Obama addressed that I'd like to break down, consists of making schools safer. As I'm sure the majority of Americans do, I encourage and champion the intervention of psychologists, counselors, and any civil means necessary to remedy any individual experiencing a mental illness. That said, I feel that the implication of instituting gun safety classes run by retired law enforcement officers won't remedy the problem of gun violence, but rather the government will further seek to propagandize us into believing that guns result in death and they themselves are the root of all evil. Yet, nobody wants to address or acknowledge the fact that Obama doesn't support the NRA's idea of having armed security guards defend a school. Albeit his daughter's school is congested with snipers atop the roof, security officers, and Secret Service agents. Now, for a few additional comments regarding today's conference. Number 1. No confiscation was suggested via an executive order, and I don't condone the confiscation of assault weapons or firearms in general, but why stop the sale of them when they'll still be in public possession? They could still be exchanged, and if an assault weapon confiscation order is passed, would that constitute to unreasonable seizure under the Fourth Amendment? Because I think that it would, and additionally you're putting small independent businesses out of business. Number 2, I found it blatantly unprofessional to have children staged behind the president's podium. If that doesn't say propaganda, then I don't know what does. But of course, they wouldn't model the children's parents up there because they're not innocent enough, and the media has taught us to become desensitized to guilty death, namely through capital punishment. And lastly, number 3, the 13th of 23 executive order suggestions that Obama has claimed today maximize enforcement efforts to prevent gun violence and prosecute gun crime. This clause is quite general and even ominous, but to what extent would these efforts encompass? Because if preventing gun violence entails gun confiscation, then it's a highly plausible issue. That's all I have for today, guys. There will be more updates to come as they're available to me. Thanks for watching. Please leave a comment below with further videos that you'd like me to present to you. And in liberty and vigilance, this is Andrew Demeter, signing out.